The last episode of The Bachelor just aired, so I'm not really sure who won at this point, nor do I care. Why? Pilot Pete. Pilot Pete. Buddy, you are a dumb person. Pilot Pete, more like Pilot Poop, because this season was shit. And you were the captain that was in charge the entire season. It just seems like every episode you made the dumbest mistake and the worst choice, and you're thinking there's no way he can top this, and then the next week he comes out and he makes a dumber choice or decision. It's borderline impressive, to be honest. I don't know how he did it. He kept it up the entire season, so good on you for that, man. There's actually some things that I've been noticing the past few seasons of The Bachelor / Bachelorette that have come to my attention. And you know what? I just want to just get these things off my chest. There's things that I need to say, need to vent a little bit, and so you guys are going to be my therapist for the next so many minutes. The first thing is trust the process. I don't know why, but for some reason in the past few seasons it seems like the Bachelor makes it a point to continually say trust the process, and at some point they throw in this sob story about how on the season that they were in,
I came here not expecting to find love. I thought I would come on the show, maybe have some fun, and then a couple weeks in, I really started to feel something. I felt like I was falling in love.
and it's complete bullshit. Like, I don't know why they continually say this. Like, it's not hard if you do a Google search. Like, trust the process. What are you talking about? I've looked this up before, and you go to the Wikipedia page, you can see who has and hasn't worked out, for lack of better terms. Not a lot of them are together still. When I'm looking at this and you say trust the process, why would you trust that process? I think it's like a 10% success rate, most recently of which is Colton's season. So it was the last Bachelor. So you would hope that they would still be together since it's been barely a year. So why would you trust this process that has a 10% success rate? People that are addicted to playing the lottery, I think, have a better chance at success than the contestants on The Bachelor. So I wouldn't trust that process to save my life. Nope. Next, this is more of just like a side note. It's something that I think was comically bad, and other people noticed it as well. They would blur out the cheeks of the girl. Like, when I don't know why I'm doing that. That makes I don't know why. It makes no sense. From like episode 2 on, there's dry humping the vast majority of the dates. So I don't know what they're trying to stop. Don't know why they did it, but it was comically bad. Another thing that has been bugging me, this kind of started a couple years ago. I think it was actually Rachel's season. They pushed for proposals heavily. And I noticed this because in Rachel's season, there was a guy that I thought was a front runner, Peter. He said that he wasn't sure that he would be ready for a proposal at the end of it, which outside of recent years in The Bachelor makes 100% sense. You're with that person, you're not even with them, you're on the show for a couple months, and you're only with them for hours at a time. And so to say, I don't know if I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this person based on the small sample size they have, that's 100% logical. To push for people to get together, it doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's dumb. Like, it makes sense that you would want to date someone for a little bit longer than a couple months, especially a couple months where they're dating other people. I think the contestant has all the right in the world to say, let's just see where this goes, because I get it that the show is built around The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, but at the end of the day, when the show ends, you have to start your real life. So it makes sense that they'd want to make sure they're making a good decision, right? I think it makes sense, but I don't know. So the last thing that I've noticed about The Bachelor, and then we'll get to Pete, don't you worry, we'll get to Pete, is that the contestants have just gotten so young. Like, it's crazy. Like, if you just boil down like the final 3 for Pete, they're, I think, 22, and one might be 24. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that your age necessarily dictates your maturity level. I think there's a lot more that goes into it, but life experience definitely plays a part in your maturity level. And at 22, some do, but you just don't have a lot of life experience. You're barely out of college if you went, and you've probably not met a lot of real life adversity, things like that, just things that shape your view of the world. And so it's just weird seeing 22-year-olds deciding who they want to spend the rest of your life with after 3 months of knowing them. Call me crazy, call me old-fashioned even, but it just seems weird. It just seems weird. But I do think that this is why they are bringing on the older Bachelorette. I think she's 36, 38, something like that. And I'm pretty sure the youngest contestant they have is 25. So they're trying to mature it up a little bit, because some of the fights on this season were absolutely ridiculous and very immature. And I think that people got tired of it real quick. So I want to get out in front of this and just say, this is a hot take. Hang on to the edge of your seats, folks. 90 Day Fiancé is a more realistic relationship avenue than The Bachelor. They're at least spending 90 days together. 90 days, that's 3 months, but that's 3 months of continually being together, just the two of you. I get it. It's like green card or whatever status. So they're like using them, but I mean, half the contestants that go on this show are just trying to get their Instagram followers up. So it's kind of the same thing. I don't know. You be the judge. Now, Pete, Pilot Pete. Bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. We've already established that. Everyone knows. So I'll start from the beginning and work my way towards the end, and how the hell he got to the final 3 that he got to. Day 1, Hannah shows up. I get it, the producers probably had something to do with that. They wanted a little sprinkle and a little drama. They had to have those teasers out there for the show. But she pulls up, and of course all the girls are peeking out the window.
What is she doing here? What is she doing here? Is she on the show? No, they're not.
There's this sob story of,
Pete, you gave me these wings. I wanted to give them back to you so that you can give them to someone that you love.
and it was a sweet gesture. Blah, 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 blah. So she leaves. The girls are happy. We can move on with the show, right? Wrong! Not only does she come back, she comes back to tell the infamous "we had sex in a windmill 4 times" story. That's exactly what you want. You want the girl, essentially your ex, telling all the girls and your hopeful future wife, telling all of them that story. That's the beginning to a long-lasting relationship right there, let me tell you. And to beat it all, they go in the back and they're cuddling and they're just kind of all over each other, because Pete can't make up his mind. He kind of still has feelings for her. I wonder why. She's sitting in his lap and he kind of proposes that she come on the show. Hey, one more for me to choose from, am I right? So basically what I'm breaking down here is that Pete's kind of a boy. To bring her back and to be involved, again, I know that producers probably set it up, but to even question it for any amount of time whatsoever, he's just an idiot. After that, we move on to the similar drama of Elena, whichever. You guys know which one I'm talking about. She was apparently a little bit of a drama starter in the house. She was probably 21 or 22 as well, and everyone said she was fake. It was funny to see her voice go up when the cameras came on or whatever it was. That was pretty funny. He kicks her off the show, and then she comes back to clear her name. Let's be honest, you wanted some more FaceTime on TV. Let's get those Instagram followers up. And then he lets her back on the show. What's going on here, man? You kicked her off. In what world do you think that was a good idea to bring her back onto the show with a bunch of girls that were finally happy that she was gone? So we know why it happened. Ratings, and she was okay with it because she wanted some more FaceTime on TV. It's a win-win, right? Except for Pete, who just continually takes L's after L's after L's. Golly, man. And then we will essentially fast forward to the final 3. Hannah Ann, Madison, and Victoria F. We'll start with Victoria F. How the hell she made it to the final 3, I have no idea. It never once seemed like on camera they had any chemistry whatsoever. All they did was fight, and all she ever did was play the victim. She would always try to spin it and be like, why are you like this? Why does this keep happening to us? And I don't think anyone on the internet liked Victoria F. But I will say, Victoria F, thank you for the memes. Oh my gosh. One of my favorite parts about watching The Bachelor was going to Twitter after the show and just seeing this girl dragged. Obviously, I wouldn't want anyone to harass her, but just to point out, people were just stating what they were seeing, and it was hilarious. And then there's Madison, the controversial thing that happened. Her telling Pete she doesn't want him to be intimate with another one of the girls on Fantasy Suites because it would bring her morals into question. Because if she were to win, she wouldn't have wanted her fiance to be intimate with a girl very shortly before they were engaged. That makes 100% sense. Think about life after The Bachelor. You're engaged to someone, and then you know they were intimate with someone a week before, maybe two. That would be a hard pill to swallow outside the eyes of The Bachelor. And everyone says,
well, you know what you signed up for.
You don't have to have sex in the Fantasy Suites. Just the previous season, after Peter and Hannah went to town in that windmill, she had a date with Tyler C., arguably the best looking man on the face of the planet. And I say that as a straight white male. I can say that with all sincerity. He is a good looking dude. She tells him she doesn't want to have sex in the Fantasy Suites. So they say, let's just talk and get to know each other. Again, that makes perfect sense. And that's what they did. So what? You don't have to do it. But again, Pete's a boy, and he kept Victoria till the end for a reason. I'm not saying it was sex. We can put two and two together. Madison tells him that, and then they go on their Fantasy Suite date. He tells her that he had been intimate with at least one of the contestants, to which she was visibly upset. She gets up from the date and walks off, and she's crying. And this turns Pete's boy all the way up. He gets up, crawls over to her like a puppy with his tail between his legs, and he's doing everything he can. That's the entire season. He wants to have his cake and eat it too. And it's very annoying. Fast forward to the rose ceremony. The other two girls are setting up at the podium waiting for the ceremony to begin.
Where's Madison? Where is she?
We know the producers played a little tricksy and picked her up 15-20 minutes late just for dramatic effect. And then played it off to the world like,
Maybe she went home. Maybe she went home.
we know better. She didn't go home. So he ends up giving the rose to Madison, but just the way he gave it to her, he's just looking down at the ground. Madison, will you accept this rose? And she basically just says, I guess. To which he was just like, oh, thank God. And just turned into a like real quick. It was hilarious to see. And then Victoria F exits stage right the exact way you would think she would. She was just like,
I don't even care. It's over. It's over. Why are we even talking about it?
bye. Bye. And that leads us to Hannah Ann. There's not really much to say about Hannah Ann. She seems to be in it to win it. Like, she is fully invested in this show, it seems. So if she wins, good for her. If Madison wins, I hope you can get over the fact that Pete's a boy. We'll see who wins. At the end of the day, just wanted to get those things off my chest. That's it. See you later.